It's May 1st, finally warm, and you're listening to another episode of Bites Over Bagel!
Brett, you're so delayed.
It's Chicago's favorite tech morning show. With me, as always, is one Miss Heather Brown.
Hello, hello, hello.
One Mr. Brett Mackey.
Bert my feet.
And everyone's favorite nemesis, Dave Seidler. I'm your host, John Osler, and we've got another great show for you guys. It's finally broken 80 degrees in Chicago, which means Brett Mackey had to get out of town. He's now in Costa Rica.
What's the weather down there,
Yeah,
Brett?
it's 95 here, bitches.
Whoa.
Wow.
Woo.
Very nice. Just goes to show, with a little technology, you can work anywhere in the world. Well, we got a great show for you guys. As usual, we're wasting your time, so let's get on to it. The title of today's episode is Mad Max and the Uberdome.
Today's coffee is brought to you by Trust Coffee. Check them out at botrust.com.
It's now that time of the show we call the Bagel Bite.
Bye.
Yeah, so we got Rob Von Bayren coming over from Google Wallet. He's the co-founder of Google Wallet to Chicago's very own Braintree Payments.
Pretty cool.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Braintree is killing it here in Chicago. They provide a platform for online and mobile payments for a ton of huge companies. And for this guy to come on board, I think, is a really big deal for Chicago. Although he's not in Chicago, but he's staying out in San Francisco.
Still counts.
Still counts. They'll fly him in a couple times.
Scared of the cold.
Couple times. Just in the summer, though.
Just in the
Yeah.
summer, yeah.
Very cool. Heather, what you got?
Well, we're a day late to the game, but yesterday was the 20th anniversary of the interwebs being free to the public. What do you all think about that?
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Yes.
Actually, they're restoring the first ever web page
Oh, that'll be nice.
yesterday.
Yes, you can actually. Yeah, you
Yesterday.
can actually check it out already if you just
Yeah.
go on and Google CERN.
That is legit,
it'll
though.
tell you.
That is
Yeah,
legit.
it's pretty legit. Though I do think it seems like it should be older by now.
What kind of web
20
pages were
years,
you
but-
making maybe 20 years ago, John? 15 years ago?
I was. AOL Press web page.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Animated GIFs, indeed.
Yeah.
There was.
Remember AOL? Remember those things, like the fake hacking download things you can buy for AOL? You can message bomb people. Oh, I used to
no.
love these things.
Oh, man. Your family's a group of hackers.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Sure.
The Seidlers.
It took.
All right. Brett, what you got?
Yeah, so I was trying to find at least one good tech story coming out of Costa Rica, and all I could come up with is 3G service is pretty good in Santa Teresa. You start heading over to Montezuma, though, you hit the top of that hill, you're going to lose it. You hit that coast, I don't know. You got nothing. Maybe a message
gotta
in a
stay
bottle.
put.
I don't know. You got to stay put. Yeah, I think actually the public web didn't arrive here until like 2003 or something. We're a little bit behind. Everybody's moving a little bit slower.
So typically I would do a bagel bite as well, but I would rather use this time to talk about our new format for next week. So we're not sure what the name's going to be yet, but what's going to happen is the four of us here, Dave, Heather, Brett, and myself, are going to represent one new startup each here in Chicago. And so if you're interested in getting involved, definitely tweet at us and Facebook us, but we will be reaching out to you based on what you're doing in the community or where we're seeing your name pop up. And so what's going to happen here is we're going to spend the next 8 episodes with 4 new startups, and we're going to create a little bracket and have people vote on who moves on. And at the end, you guys are going to get a sweet prize package. So stay tuned for that. And that concludes today's Bagel Bite.
You only like me when I'm leaving.
Today's bagels are brought to you by NYC Bagel Deli Catering. Head on over there and get some kettle baked goodness today.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good.
Well, we've been on the road
So today's featured interview is with Max Crowley. He is the community manager at Uber.com, Chicago. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, Uber's awesome.
We love ourselves
Yeah.
here, too.
Yeah.
So can you first start out by just telling our listeners what Uber is and sort of what your role is there?
Absolutely. So baseline, Uber is a mobile app. Press a button and a black car or a taxi or an SUV is there within 5 minutes. Credit cards on file, tips included. So the whole process is just very seamless. And you get out, say thanks, and a receipt is emailed to you. So it's a awesome option for transportation in Chicago.
And so what are you doing at the...
So I'm everything client-facing. So everything from social media to customer support to marketing to business development. We basically have, now it's a team. Originally it was just me and one other person, but team that manages supply chain. So everything driver-facing. So getting more drivers, quality with the drivers, training the drivers, and then the other half of the team is client-facing. So how we continue to grow the business and promotions and all customer support as well. So
Uber kind of blew up pretty quickly. Well, it seemed like it did anyway. I mean, I feel like it'd been around for a little bit, but all of a sudden it's just like enormously awesome and people using it every day. So like what kind of was the tipping point as far as like you're talking about creating these marketing strategies, promotions, et cetera? Like, was there a tipping point or something you did differently that was like just made it huge?
Yeah, so when we launched Taxi, that was the big tipping point. So we launched Chicago summer 2011, just black car. And then in April, so 8 months or 9 months or so later, we added Taxi as an option. It was first city that in the country and the world where we had multiple options. So until then, it was just press a button, you get the nearest vehicle. We piloted Taxi here, and massive success.
Oh, really? Before in New York?
Yep, before anybody. So, and then in the summer, we started with, like, you could order SUV, UberX, a few other products in other, here and in other markets. But yeah, Chicago was first with Taxi. We had piloted barbecue sandwiches a month before, is just a fun promotion at South by Southwest. So you could choose pedicab or barbecue sandwich. And so we had the technology built out, and then we just did black car and Taxi here. But Chicago is just like such a taxi market.
Yeah.
There's taxis everywhere. And so it's a lot easier to sell. There's an app to request a taxi, in Chicago at least, than, press a button and get a private driver. And I think that was sort of the tipping point there.
Gotcha.
So how does the Chicago market differ from, let's say, San Francisco and New York and Boston and some other big places?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, for one, I think, like I said before, there's just a lot of taxi usage in Chicago. So the taxi product is very popular here. It's the most popular taxi city. And Chicago is it's like the Midwest mentality. People are just more normal. I like to think. I guess maybe that's because I'm from Chicago. But in the Midwest,
Certainly around this table.
But just from like a black car perspective, I think on the East Coast there's just sort of more of a little bit of a like want to look awesome, want to impress people. And in Chicago, people kind of want to just get around.
Yeah.
Sort of the main difference.
Is the company managed differently in all these different states? Like, you do a lot of heavy management here, right? So who does it in San Francisco and New York and all these other places?
So we've got a dedicated team in every market, and that team is like very for that city. So me here, we've got like a, sort of like punk tattoo sleeves, chick in Seattle, normal like Boston, like he like boxes on the side.
Right.
The community manager
Roughs
there.
people up.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like everybody's very for their city.
Cool.
And it's awesome because the brand then sort of takes on the right mentality and, gets really ingrained with the community.
Very cool.
What's next? Are we talking helicopters?
Not yet, but potentially. We'll continue to play with awesome things. I think would be like the next step. So like we delivered flowers
I was gonna ask
on
about that,
Valentine's
yeah.
Day, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was really legit, actually.
I mean, it was so legit. Like I was standing in an elevator, so we like delivered the flowers ourselves. Like we had team members in the car that accepted the dispatch, and then went to you could set your delivery location. We would then go. We had one instance where I accept this guy's delivery location, and then we would call and say, who would you like these flowers delivered to, and what message would you like me to give them? And it was a guy who was in Florida on business, and he wanted us to deliver flowers to his wife, which was like so awesome. This guy's sitting in Florida, presses a button, and flowers are delivered 5 minutes later to his wife. We execute on these things really well. It's exciting to think about what the technology could grow and continue to look like, moving things around a city more efficiently.
In black cars.
Which
Just ups the game. Yeah.
It just helps it.
changes the game.
Yeah.
But we did on-demand DJs around Lollapalooza.
Really?
So you press a button, and a DJ party bus pulled out.
Whoa.
Stock
That's
full of
awesome.
Really? Wow.
Alcohol and a DJ.
What is the interview process like for a driver? Do they actually have to apply, or how does that work?
Yeah, so they apply online, and then they come in for a training session. For a taxi, it's just a training session. We give them an iPhone, and then they're able to go onto the system whenever they want to be on the system. And then for black car, we actually bring them in. We inspect their vehicle, a little bit more of a little longer of a training session. And then, same, they have the iPhone. Whenever they want to go on the system, they just press a button. They're on. They're able to accept dispatches. And then as soon as they want to go off the system, they just press another button, and they're no longer an active driver on the system.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, what's great about it is it's just addition to their normal business. So, a time where 2 years ago they would have been reading a book between shifts or eating or, whatever it might have been, they're now able to get additional income. So, I mean, it changes a lot of guys' lives, which is really exciting to see.
So you guys you're humming along like business is rocking in Chicago, and then you guys just changed the pricing structure a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. So you tell us a little bit about that, and maybe if that affected business. Or...
Absolutely. So we changed the way that we structure taxi pricing. So drivers now get more of the total fare in gratuity, and clients pay a service fee.
Is that similar to other companies in the market, or
It is. So goal here is all reliability. Mm-hmm. We heard people's concerns about not always being able to get a taxi, and also times of really high demand. So mornings, evenings, Saturday nights. And so with the service fee, we hope that there are more drivers on the system that are accepting trips. And we've already seen a 20% increase in acceptance rates during those times of high demand with the service fee. And, although we've had, some inquiries about why we're doing it and a bunch of other things, overall, it's sort of keep moving along, and it's sort of the first step to just being as reliable as possible. I mean, that's our goal. We want you to be able to press a button, choose what experience you want, and be able to get it. And so we think the service fee is a good first step there.
At least personally, I always have an issue with drivers, and maybe not so much recently, but definitely in the past, lying about the credit card machine not working. Listen, I know you can call it in. I know it's pretty easy. Saying, that they don't accept credit cards. How much do you hate that?
So,
or do you?
I get it. The process for these guys, for these drivers to go get the money that is charged in the back seat or any time in a vehicle is like insane. They have to go down to an office. They have to wait in line. It takes a few hours at times. So it's really difficult for them to get that money. So although it's as a consumer, it's a terrible experience.
Sure.
You
feel for them.
Yeah, I mean, it just, it's like why I think Uber is awesome.
Yeah. So how does Uber help that process, and how do the drivers get paid?
Yeah, daily now. We do daily payments.
Got it.
So I mean, it's
That's
one of
great.
those things that we've done that just really differentiates from other options they've had before. Because again, these guys are leasing their vehicles. It's on them. The vehicle could sit in their driveway all day, every day. They don't report to anyone. It's on them to make it, to earn income. And so Uber's just another option for them to do that. But we want to be the best possible one and sort of push, everything to be more driver friendly. And through all of those things, we hope that there's the reliability. It makes sense. It feels like you should pay a service fee. These are the things that we're doing on the driver's side of things. And like you said, we have two people that we work for. 50%, it's the people that need a ride, and 50%, it's the people that are looking to drive someone.
So now it's time for the most important question on Bites Over Bagels. What is your favorite bagel, and how do you like it prepared?
I'm a little nervous to tell you.
That's the best answer yet. Oh, God.
Don't be scared.
It's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Where is this going?
No, it's not in a weird way. Not in a super weird. The Einstein's has that like cinnamon sugar bagel with strawberry cream cheese. It's not like your sort of like man bagel or anything near.
I like it, though. I like it. Yeah.
It's delicious. Toasted.
Yeah.
Game on.
Game on. I like that.
Don't tell anyone I said that.
It's going to go on the show.
No, I'm
You got to do it.
I'm joking. I totally joking.
I like how you were nervous about that.
I owned it. I'll own it.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, have you ever had one of those?
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
I had one this weekend. My parents got it. It comes in a separate bag. Like, they literally put it in a separate bag.
Because it's like the cinnamon and sugar is like melting off of it. It's delicious.
So how do we find out more?
Download the app, Uber on iPhone, Android, or our mobile site is m.uber.com, and use the promo code BAGEL13 to get $15 off your first black car ride in Chicago before the end of May.
Well, Max, thanks so much again for coming on the show. Damn it. We love Uber.com, and apparently so do our listeners. So far, we've had quite a few people take advantage of that promo code.
People are loving it.
Those fools. Just kidding. They love it. They love it.
Weather's getting better. Want to be out and about? Bagel 13, $15 off your first ride.
Perfect.
Roll the windows down.
That's gotta make it.
I'm gonna sell my whole life to a perfect stranger.
Filling in the gaps today is Wally Dogger from Chicago, of course. Check him out at wallydogger.com or bitesoverbagels.com.
And that concludes episode 11 of Bites Over Bagels! Join us on the program next week where we'll have
Sean Riegsecker, founder and CEO of Centro.
got a great interview with him. As always, you can check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters. You can subscribe on the iTunes. And next week, startups. Next week, we will be featuring 4 new Chicago startups. That's new startups. So please tune in to our Facebook, Twitter pages. And you can also now subscribe to our mailing list. We will be representing you instead of our Bagel Bite as usual next week. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
What if I don't like the place that I'm moving to? What if